This silver shows why we are headed for economic collapse. Precious metals are critical to your survival. Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching Yankee Stacking. I got my box from SD Bullion, and boy did it come fast. I absolutely love SD Bullion's service, their support. They got great prices, and this that I just got is a real beauty. Can't wait to open it up, so why don't I get into it? All right, it's cracked open, and ooh, yes. By the way, you definitely want to check out their mission statement on the back. I love it. All right, so let's just put that over there, and let's open this up too. There we go, and boy, ooh, there it is, the 2022 Infinity Round, chunky 2-ounce piece of silver. There you can see the Awakening. By the way, that is the Eye of Horus. Okay, that's the same thing that is on our $1 bill. I don't know if you've noticed that. See that? Not that I'm all jacked up over that, but let me tell you, that is pretty amazing. QE, and we're going to talk about QE in just a second, but I do want to say that if you haven't checked out SD Bullion, you need to. Go to my link, sdbullion.com/Yankee. Sign up for their amazing 2022 Silver Eagle Monster Box giveaway and get their notifications. Guys, click on the Docs deals at the top, that link right at the top there. I just love this beautiful 2-ounce piece of silver. It's going to go really nice with my 5-ounce Infinity Round that I got last year. It's kind of like the little baby brother. So definitely check out sdbullion.com/Yankee for all your silver and gold needs. There actually are 2 other things that I'm getting ready to buy from them, and I'm going to share that with you at the end of the video. But first, let me tell you why I believe silver and gold prices are headed incredibly higher in the next few years. Why I'm convinced that this is the decade of radical change with precious metals. And it really boils down to what is on this coin. Do you see the Q and the E? QE. That stands for Quantitative Easing. And that's just a fancy phrase that means printing fiat currency, devaluing the dollar, central bank stimulus, monetary immorality. Okay, and we as a nation and as a world have become immune to what is on this coin. But it's how currencies and civilizations die. So we hear in the news that our central bank, the Fed, is poised to wage war against raging inflation. They're talking about raising the federal funds rate by 50 basis points in May. And yeah, we may do it again in June. And who knows, we might do it again in July if we have to. Whoa, okay. They're like a WWE wrestler standing outside the ring, threatening to put the smack down on inflation. They grab the mic. They scream at the champion, and then they throw a folding chair into the ring, and ooh, it's scary, right? But it means nothing. They don't have the stomach to jump in and really take on inflation, or they would have already done it. Now, I could take you back to the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. I could describe to you the economic realities that has just happened in my lifetime, but I won't go back that far. That's for another time, another video. But I do want to visit more recent history because I think it tells us what is going on now and what's going to happen and why I'm so bullish on precious metals. So let's take 2001, when the dot-com bubble burst. The Federal Reserve rushed in to quell market turmoil by dropping their federal funds rate, the interest rate that banks charge each other, to 1%. Now that was unprecedented at the time. Fed Chairman Alan Greenspan broke all his monetary convictions to do that. And this was before the black swan event of 9/11. Starting in 2004, Greenspan began raising the rates. He knew that low interest rates were highly dangerous to an economy. It was a moral hazard. So the Fed got the federal funds rate up to just over 5%. Not quite half the prior peak, but certainly half of the earlier peak of 10% ahead of the recession of the 90s. So 5%, that's what they got it to. And that sounds like a lot today, doesn't it? You'd be pretty impressed to get 5% in your bank, right? But 5% back then was considered super low. Remember also other realities during that time. Inflation in the early 2000s, or at least inflation as measured by the CPI, was tame. Yes, our manufacturing base was mostly sent overseas by then, but we still didn't have a massive federal balance sheet. Not yet. Nations all around the world, like China and Russia, still wanted our treasuries. However, when the Great Recession and the global financial crisis occurred in 2008 and 9, we passed the point of no return. In the teens, we saw fiscal spending unlike anything we had seen since the Great Depression and FDR's New Deal. We had never seen the monetary madness before, ever. This is when everything changed. We abandoned the remnants of free market principles. And that is when I believe the dollar's demise was sealed. Bank bailouts happened. ZIRP was introduced. That's zero interest rate policy. And real interest rates went negative. But you see, ZIRP wasn't enough to stabilize the markets. More had to be done. Ben Bernanke, chairman of the Fed, cooked up quantitative easing, QE, and he gorged on bond purchases and other toxic assets. We got QE1, QE2, TARP, QE3. The Fed balance sheet exploded, and all of that was on top of the zero interest rate policy, ZIRP. What do you think happened then? Well, debt surged to unprecedented highs. Zombie companies, those are the businesses that are so deeply in debt they can never catch up, should never really exist in the first place. They multiplied like rabbits. Stock buybacks broke historic records. I mean, why not, right? The era of free money was here. So yeah, borrow all you can, right? The stock market surged. And then when the Fed thought it was time to try and raise rates again in 2016, it could only get to half the prior high, 2.25. So do you see the horrifying pattern going here? And when they tried to taper QE, the markets had a seizure. It melted down due to the stimulus withdrawal symptoms. And that happened in the fourth quarter of 2018. That was before the black swan event of COVID-19. It had nothing to do with the pandemic. It was all due to the economy, the fake economy, I should say, needing cheap money. And the Fed gave the markets the fix they needed. They reversed course all the way back down to zero. Then came the pandemic. And armed with their 9/11-like excuse, the government responded like a bunch of woke imbeciles. They literally shut down the economy. Rates were already at 0%. So there was really no place for them to go but negative nominally. So QE4 came, the mother of all QEs, dwarfing all the other ones before it. But that wasn't enough either. They had to expand their asset purchases into junk bonds. And they had to provide stimulus for Wall Street. But that wasn't sufficient. No, they had to hand out stimulus to Main Street. The government introduced massive unemployment benefits like rental assistance, PPP. They went all in on modern monetary theory. And the printing press was in overdrive. But this time, inflation reared its head. What are they going to do now? They do what they're experts at. They lie. The government and the Federal Reserve lied about inflation. First, they said it's not there. You're imagining it. Oh, and then they said it was transitory. Yeah, it'll go away soon. And then they said it was good for you because we're fighting Putin, right? So it's a good thing. Then they said they could lick it in a fight. Yeah, sure. All the while, the bond market is in free fall. The stock market is dropping like a rock. Inflation is at 8.5%, twice that if we measure it the right way. What will the Fed be able to get the federal funds rate to? What's my prediction? Well, I bet you can guess, okay? It's half of the prior peak, 1.2%. That's my guess. And you know what? That might not be possible either. Our debt is enormous. The markets know that. They need cheap money. And I think the Fed has no stomach to watch the markets get destroyed and all the bubbles pop. We're finally seeing the results of decades of financial foolishness. And I think our central bank will bring us into an inflationary depression before this decade is out. I'm talking an economic collapse. Not that I want that to happen, okay? So don't think that. But the next time the Fed has to reverse its course to save the markets, I think it means the end of our dollar. I think it's the end of the dollar's reserve currency status. I think that's when the dollar reset occurs, where individual wealth is wiped out. And I think it's the end of our debt-driven American way of life. That's why, if you're new to my channel, I'm a prepper. That's why I'm a prepper stacker. This isn't exactly being a prepper stacker, but I absolutely love it. I love the message that it gives, the warning, I should say. It's beautiful, and I just love having these as reminders. Now, again, I'm looking at two other items to purchase. One of which is the final tube of Canadian maples. I have the monster box that I'm trying to finish off, okay, and I'm waiting to buy that final tube to finish it off. I'm going to hopefully get it soon. And the other thing that I'm looking to buy more of is pre-33 gold. All right, SD Bullion has some in stock. I'm probably going to pull the trigger on it soon, but that is the other purchase I'm looking to make. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please hit the like right now. If you enjoyed it, I would really appreciate it. And as always, I hope your day is A-OK.